Wondering how you can become better at running your business? Entrepreneurship can be stressful. There's too much to do and not enough time. If you're isolated in your daily decisions, have no fear. Success and balance are possible. Welcome to the Small Business Answer Man podcast, where you master the art of running a successful business using practical advice from experts who want to help you succeed. Now, here's your host, Gary Wilbers.
Welcome. We're glad to have you back. Can you believe we're in that fourth quarter of 2024? Now, my goal in this fourth quarter, I told you I'm going to try to find guests that will not only help you this quarter, but really launch you into the first quarter of next year. Because we've got to be thinking about our businesses. And in the fourth quarter, it's all about planning and preparation, finishing off the year strong, but also then really getting a springboard into the next year. So I really want you to concentrate on that. I've really worked on guests that's going to help us in those areas. So I'm excited about having Jim with us today. But Jim, before we get into who you are, would you share with our listeners what problem will you help them solve today?
Yeah, Gary, the problem that I fell in love with years ago was that most business owners, especially small business owners and even nonprofit organizations, struggle to find the words to talk about what they do, what they offer. And so that's really what I love helping people do, is finding a way, and we've developed a process that helps people simplify and clarify their marketing messages so that they can not only communicate with their audience, but they connect with them. And that helps them get their companies growing again.
Oh, I love talking marketing, and I love talking small business. Jim Matuga is with us today, and he's president and founder of Interaction Media, an award-winning marketing and branding agency. Jim has been helping companies simplify, clarify, and amplify their brand messages for over 35 years. Jim has proven a track record of delivering cost-effective and strategic solutions to clients across various industries, using his expertise in high-quality video production, inbound marketing, PPC campaigns, and social media management and website development. Jim, it is great to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Gary, thanks for having me. I appreciate you and appreciate the audience out there as well.
Well, I think it's so important. You really set this up well, because when we're talking about marketing, people may have been hearing some of this buzzwords and they're hearing this things about story. But I think the challenge that we have with story is there's a correct way about doing it in marketing today. And I think that's so important. And I know you've got some philosophies that you believe in this area. So would you share with me some of those philosophies?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we begin our story process with kind of flipping the script, if you will, right? And that is, most businesses talk about themselves. You know, here's how many years of experience we have. Here's how many square feet our building is. Here's how many delivery trucks we have. Here's our people, right? When what the consumer out there, their customers are looking for is the answer to this question: what's in it for me? The old WIFM. I remember back in my early career, somebody told me about WIFM, what's in it for me? And I used to envision people with that tattooed on their forehead. You know, when I would meet with a customer, I got to speak to that, right? And so when I say I fell in love with the problem of the fact that most small business owners struggle with the words that they use, that's what I mean by story. So we flip the script, and what we try to do is begin with the hero of the story. You may have heard that before, or the main character, right? The hero is not you. You're the guide in the process. The hero is the customer. And so you got to speak to them. You got to make them the point of all the things that you're doing. And so when you kind of flip that script and you say, okay, I want to make the customer the hero of the story and show how our company helps them succeed, have that favorable outcome, you know, avoid disaster, whatever it may be that you're helping them with, then that's the beauty of a powerful marketing story.
Well, and that's the key too, because the challenge is today it's a very crowded marketplace. I mean,
That's right.
back when you and I started, Jim, sorry, we're both in the same
That's right.
You know, we did newspaper, radio, and you probably did some TV commercials.
That's right.
But today, you know, the landscape, this change of how you're marketing to people, because it's not just those areas, those are part of it today, but also you have social media where we have to be able to share that message. And I, I really enjoy what you say about the story side of it, because
Yeah.
the problem is so many people, they want to tell us about their business.
Right.
I don't care.
Right. You
You know?
don't. Yeah.
I
It's
just want my
important. Yeah.
problem solved,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And like I say, all those things that I mentioned, you know, the years of experience, your people, your delivery truck fleet, that's all part of it. But that's the guide part of it. And that's how you express empathy and you know, wisdom and knowledge, right? You have the subject matter expertise. That's part of the story, but ultimately you have to get the idea of what is in it for the customer. What are they trying to achieve? Fall in love with that problem again, right? And
Right.
so you know you hit on something that I want to address too, because you were talking about the traditional mass media, and I like to say that, you know, years ago the mass media controlled everything.
Hmm.
Today, Gary, the masses are the media.
Oh, that's a good point.
Everybody has a media channel, whether it's Facebook, maybe they have two, Instagram and Facebook, the Meta Suite. Maybe they have an Instagram or a LinkedIn account, a YouTube channel, right? People have multiple channels, not just one. And so the masses are the media now. And so how do we connect? How do we cut through that chaos? Well, it's going to be through a compelling story. And again, what I like to say is most people communicate, right? But very few connect. And I'm telling you, the way to connect is through a powerful story. And I don't care if it's on social media, if you're creating a newspaper ad still, maybe that's something that's working for you. The story plays a vital part of that. You got to, and it could be something that's a one sentence story, you know, one liner. I like to talk about those one liners. My one liner, I already used it on you, is most small businesses struggle to talk about what they offer. We've created a process that helps them clarify their message so that their business can grow. That's a one liner, right? Get it down to one thing, express that problem that the customer's facing, explain how you help them, and show them what the successful ending looks like.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. And I know some business owners are listening and they're taking this in, but of course, you know, have not totally adopted it. So what I always try to do on this end, Jim, I try to think about what would they want to ask, you
Yeah,
know, the person that I'm interviewing. So
I love it.
question is if you don't mind, I'm sure you got numerous stories, and if you need to change name, you're welcome to do
Hmm.
that. But can
Hmm.
you share kind of an example or a story of someone that you all have worked with that really they've kind of seen that transition,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
or a success factor that you've had, but give them a little bit of the detail in the beginning to where you are now.
Yeah, I think a great example of that would be we work with a group called West Virginia University, WVU. We're here in Morgantown, West Virginia. WVU Medicine is one of the largest employers in our state, and I'll kind of share it from their perspective. We brought that to them, the idea of this story process for the Heart and Vascular Institute, a leading cardiothoracic surgery group here, not only in the United States, but across the world. Dr. Vinay Badwar is one of the leading cardiothoracic surgeons on the planet. And so what we've done is we brought to them this story process, okay? And as an example how that looks, we have a guy, his name was George Jenkins. He was the patient. We created a testimonial story. It's about a 3.5 minute video, but we tell the story of George from his perspective. Okay. And it would be easy to say, look, we're the best in the world. We have a leading cardiothoracic surgeon on our team, but that's only a part of the story. The story is George. Okay. And George, the video opens by him talking about how he loves his ice cream shop. He has a little place in here in West Virginia. It's called the Dairy King, and he's got this great little ice cream shop. Okay, and the video opens with him talking about how he loves working in this place, shows him creating an ice cream sundae and handing it to a little kid, and all these things, these images. But you hear his perspective about how he loves doing what he does. And then his wife enters the story, and she starts talking about how one day he had trouble breathing. His heart was in irregular rhythm. He had AFib. He was diagnosed with AFib. So about a minute and a half into the story, you're compelled, like, what's going on here? And then enters the guide, Dr. Badwar, and we talk about this new procedure that he's helped develop and is exploding throughout the world. This procedure that he's developed, and we show his empathy for the situation. We show his expertise. We show the robotic surgery aspect. We don't lead with that, but that's right in the middle of the story. Enters the guide, right? The guide in the process that has a plan to get George back to where he wants to be. And we talk a little bit about the mechanics of the procedure, how it all works. And then the story concludes with the successful ending of George Jenkins, where he is back to his life. And he talks about the fact that he used to be on all these medications, but still have an AFib. Now his heart hasn't missed a beat, and it will not miss a beat again. And it's just like this powerful story of, like, this guy had this problem, and we bring it to full. And and that story, in the middle of the story, when he meets the guide, when he meets the WVU medicine, HVI, the heart and vascular team, he says, when I met these guys, miracles happened. And he utters those words. We couldn't have written that, okay? But that became their whole campaign. Newspaper ads, billboards, TV, radio, video, digital ads. I mean, these ads are running across the country, quite frankly. And the headline just said, miracles happen, in quotes, and George Jenkins testimonial. And, so when you tell the story from the customer's perspective, man, magic happens, miracles happen.
Yeah. Well, just think about, for the listeners, think about what you just did. Yeah, you were giving us the background too, but the thing is we were even involved in that story. Yeah. Because you started at the beginning, you shared with kind of how the wife came into it, kind of the piece of it where when his heart was having a problem.
And she was supporting actress.
So it's everything we do is based on story. Think about it. We would hate TV shows if they didn't have a story behind it, because the ones that we don't get interested in is something that's too bland and there's no conflict. So you have to bring that in. And what we're saying is, in your advertising, when you do this in your marketing, it sets you apart, because the challenge is, Jim, I'm sure you see it. I'm sure you have one or two more customers out there that you can get, right? Because the majority of businesses are doing what? We've been in business 35 years, we do video marketing, we do,
exactly.
websites.
Yeah. Well, go to your own website, and what's the main image? It's probably a shot of the fleet of your trucks, And that's all cool. It's part of the story. I'm not saying it's not part of the story. It's essential, but it's not the lead. The lead is the hero, and so I like to say this a lot, and I'm not being critical. I'm just saying this is a way you can improve your marketing, improve your growth strategy, right? Is to put the customer at the center of it. And, so go to your website. What's the main image that you see? Is it a happy customer with a couple of words saying, wow, Bill's air conditioning service company just did a miracle. They were here within 30 seconds or 30 minutes of me calling them, right? That would be more powerful than seeing the fleet of HVAC service trucks.
Yeah.
For instance.
Well, let's go from there because marketing is changing. Let's talk about one of the things that is changing with AI. And how it's helping marketers, but also maybe if you could share with you how you're using your business, get these business owners thinking about, because they're hearing AI, but what I'm seeing yet, and maybe it's because I'm from Missouri, they're like, yeah, but I don't know how that's going to work for me.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are getting a misunderstanding that, to me, it's not going to replace the workforce.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going to change how we work. And I tell people all the time, the challenge we have is there's not enough employees for us to hire. And so businesses have to be more efficient in what they do.
Yes.
To me,
Yes.
that's where AI fits in, but I think it also fits in marketing and advertising and other areas. So share
Yeah.
me with what you found out there.
Yeah, Gary, you're speaking my language, and I love what you just said right there because it's all true. Uh, you know, back in November of 2022, I was trying to figure out a way to really create a piece of software for some internal processes that we have here, i.e., telling better stories. Okay. And at the time, I was hearing the buzz of generative AI. And it just so happened I was invited to be a part of a cohort to stand up 10 SaaS applications, software as a service, in 10 weeks. It was an initiative through West Virginia University and the John Chambers College of Business and Economics. And John Chambers himself, the former CEO of Cisco, was funding this project. And I was invited to be a part of it. And so the idea was, could we take our story process, utilize generative AI, and this is before ChatGPT was launched. Okay. I had heard rumblings of it, but I said, man, if we could figure out how to work this. So we were on the ground floor of this. In January of 2023, we set about in 10 weeks, we're going to launch this application. And what the idea that I had, again, falling in love with the problem, could I help people tell a 30-second pitch quickly and efficiently that was based on the stuff that we're talking about, the story arc, right? Can I help people do that with a piece of software? And so I was invited to be part of this cohort. And about 6 weeks in, Gary, I had about 30 people on a call just like this. As you can imagine, developers from India and people from West Virginia and other places. And I pushed the button for the first time on StoryMaker. I was the first one that made it to what they call a minimally viable product, an MVP in the software industry. And I pushed that button, and in about 6 seconds, a 30-second pitch appeared on the screen for everybody. And I had to read it. And it was about my company. And it was perfect. It was absolutely amazing. And what we did is we had created our story arc, our story process. We call it our brand story process. And there's about 8 steps. We added a couple of tweaks to it over the past year. It's built on a database. So you fill out all the information because, if you've used ChatGPT, the hardest thing about it is creating the prompt. What do I tell it to do? Right. Well, we've taken all the guesswork out of it with StoryMaker. And so you just type in a couple of answers to some questions that we prompt you with. That goes into a database, and with a couple of drop-down menus, including things like tone of voice. You want a positive and enthusiastic tone of voice or a serious and professional. You can create a custom tone of voice, by the way, but it creates this content for you, okay, instantly. I mean, I'm talking like literally 3 or 4 seconds. You can create a 30-second pitch now. You can create social media content. You can create emails, sales emails, follow-up customer service emails, blog posts. I mean, for me to write a blog on Interaction Media will take me sometimes 2 to 3 hours to put my thoughts. I could do it literally in 30 seconds. And it's in my voice. I can edit it. I can tweak it. I can put keywords in. Okay. And it'll rank for keywords. It's just a fascinating tool. And so my point of all that is not necessarily to promote StoryMaker, but we do have hundreds of subscribers now across the country, which is pretty cool. But even more importantly, we're helping lots of small business owners that struggle with the problem that I fell in love with, telling their story, right? But the coolest thing about all that is it's here. Embrace it. Embrace it for good. We're hearing a lot of the nefarious things and the negative things about AI, and I envision robots taking over the world and all those kinds of things. But the technology is here to help small businesses. Embrace it, use it. And I love it because I have these a constant feedback from our customers saying, wow, did you know that could do this? I was like, no, but that's pretty cool. we'll make sure that we let people know that you can do it, to write a media release for a new employee that just joined your team that you want to send out to the world, and those kinds of things. It's really fascinating, and honestly, the biggest thing I could say about it, and you already talked about this, it just makes us more efficient. If you we have an email responder where if you get an email, you're like, man, I gotta answer these 5 questions. It's gonna take me all day to get to this. You can copy that, paste it in our email responder, hit make my story, and it'll write a perfectly worded response that you can copy and paste and send it back in a few seconds instead of spending hours on it.
Well, I know how it makes you more efficient. I've been using it. I hate doing proposals.
Yeah,
Be honest, I don't like writing proposals because number one, I want to just do business with them. But sometimes you get that case you have
that's
to
right. That's right.
use it in those areas. But with marketing, the hardest part is sometimes getting started. And of course, our listeners, their challenge is they probably are doing the marketing, plus they're also the sales person and everything else, because a lot of small businesses don't have a marketing department like large companies do.
That's right.
That's what intrigued me. I did some research, and there is a website. If you don't mind, go ahead and share that with them now, because
Yeah.
I really think you need to check this out. Because
Yeah.
the thing is, it's very reasonable.
Yeah.
And if you've been thinking about this is something that I just think is so valuable that I want you to go ahead and share the website now so they can check out the
Yeah,
software.
Gary, it's storymakerapp.us. And honestly, folks can get on there and check it out. There's a couple of testimonial videos, of our customers talking about the product. But even if they wanted to have a demo, they could reach out to me as one-to-one, and I'll do a product demo and walk them through it. And again, if nothing else, just to open your eyes to what's out there, you know.
Yeah. And that's the thing we want to do is we really want to make this easier. What did I tell you at the start? Our goal this fourth quarter is to get you started, but then to really jumpstart you in the 2025 because marketing is changing, business is changing. Let's just be honest. But we're
Yep.
really specifically talking about marketing today. And with AI, this is Jim. I think you're really on to something that's going to be exciting. When did you launch that? Then
It was on May 1st, 2023. So a little over a year. We've been rocking and rolling with that. And again, what I set out to do was really to help us create as a marketing agency, a software tool that we use every day now. We use it for all of our clients creating content. But the idea of being able to help hundreds, potentially thousands, or even tens of thousands of small business owners out there and nonprofit organizations that struggle with these same problems, that's pretty cool too. So we didn't set out to create a software application that would hit the market, but that's what we ended up with.
Yeah, that's exciting and really appreciate you sharing that. And
Sure.
excited for you because, man, the possibilities are endless there. And I congratulate you for taking
Well,
that
yeah.
initiative. And what you doing, see, he solved another problem. To
Yeah,
be quite honest, he solved it internally for his own company,
that's right.
but also now he's taking it to the masses because he knows it can make a difference there. So
Yeah.
please check that out. We'll have that all in show notes because we know our entrepreneurs are busy. They're not able to write down, but all that's in show notes, and we'll have that website where you can get to that. Now, before I let you go, because we're coming up that time, every time I get in a conversation, I'm excited about it. Our time goes quick, but these are busy entrepreneurs. They don't have
Yeah.
time to listen to us for an hour because you and I could talk for probably several hours,
Sure.
have this conversation. But I really want to talk about video. And we've talked about that before, but somebody's news on here and somebody is not using video in their marketing. And it has to be a strategy today. Just give me your feedback and why do people need to incorporate video into their marketing strategy?
Well, the first and foremost, it works. It's the most powerful media that's available to us. It captures not only motion, video, the actual shots, potentially music, voiceover, graphics. It's multimedia, and so it's a way for people to cut through the chaos of the media stuff that's out there. Just think about the things that catch your attention anecdotally. You're scrolling through Instagram, you see something, it's a video, maybe it's a short or a reel, and you're like, oh, next thing you know, you're down a rabbit hole, right? Because it works. Okay. It catches the attention, it stands out, it cuts through the media clutter and chaos.
Yeah, that becomes the real key. And the thing
Yep.
is, I just tell business owners, don't make it hard on yourself. I
Yeah.
mean, if it's cold and rainy outside and you're fixing something
Yeah.
and you're in that type of business, a roof,
Yeah.
show that.
Show it.
All you
Yeah.
got to do is take some video
Yeah.
of it and stuff, and you can get the experts in. But the same thing, if you can
Yeah.
build a story. Jim and I, before we started on this podcast, we cut a quick social media clip. Because why? I know if they see that on social media, a good chance if that drives their interest, then they're going to come listen to the rest of the podcast.
That's
So,
right. Gary, if I could just expand on that a little bit too,
sure.
because I talk about, the capturing the attention. The first thing is going to be prevalent in a video is it's going to cut through the chaos. Somebody sees it, but then you got to be able to tell that story. It kind of comes full circle, right? And so I love it because we do a lot of high-end video here at Interaction Media, my agency. We do a lot in the outdoor space, with outdoor brands, healthcare, banks, law firms, and so forth. But you don't have to have just high-end video. I encourage our clients, the real authentic stuff out there you're shooting on your iPhone. That's just as compelling if it has a good storyline to it. So the thing that I would say, best piece of advice on creating video, add value to your customer.
Mm.
If you're just creating a video, say, hey, we want to show you our new truck. Is that really adding value? Right? That it could be fun. It might get some engagement, but try to figure out a way to add value to the conversation. That's my biggest piece of advice. Add value to people.
Yeah. Well, great advice there. And I appreciate you sharing that because our whole thing is really to make a difference for our business owners and just think about your different business differently. That's the key. I'm going to tell you in 2025. I just did a speaking engagement yesterday and change is happening. Change, we've felt it multiple times, but kind of what I told this company had been in business over 70 some years. The reason you're going to be in business another 70 is you're changing to the marketplace of what's required today. And for all business owners and for small business owners, it's tough. But we have to change because if we don't, someone else is going to come up and take that marketplace, and then you're not going to have enough business to keep it going. So that becomes the real key. Jim, this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you sharing that. His website, interactionmedia.com, that's their agency. You can check that out. And he already told you about storymakerapp.us. We'll have those in show notes. That's there. If you're an outdoor person, check out iamoutdoors.us and he'll show you some of the information that he has available there. All those will be in show notes because I know you're busy people and don't have time to be able to write those down at this time. And of course, they're on LinkedIn, they're on X, Twitter. So Facebook, all that is available to you. So please check out their information and go to their website because I'm telling you, I went to storymakerapp.us and that's pretty darn exciting and stuff on that. And I've already told him I'm going to probably take him up on the demo because I want to learn a little more about that myself. So check that out if you would in each one of those areas. But before I let you go, Jim, we ask every guest the same question. And the question is, what's your best business advice you would give the business owners?
Mine's a little different. I'm a person of faith, and I always say, put God at the center of everything.
That's a great one. I tell you what, then you're going to really move forward. And I'm a Christian myself too. So I appreciate you sharing that and realize that we don't do it on our own.
Amen. Amen.
We may think we're some great business person. Early in my career, I thought it was all me, Jim. And I've realized, gosh, good thing I had somebody following along.
Yeah, it took me like 20 years to realize that. Yeah, exactly.
We all have that challenge. So again, check out those websites. We have them available to you. Interactionmedia.com, storymakerapp.us, and we'll have all that in show notes for you. Jim, thank you again for sharing with us and really helping our business owners in this fourth quarter really prepare their business. And you can get started pretty quickly on this, but really to take your marketing to the next level. Because in 2025, that's going to gain you more sales, more customers, more business in the long run. Thank you so much for joining us.
Gary, thank you so much. Appreciate you, man. And I hope I added some value to your audience.
You did a great job. And I tell you, listeners, I'm going to tell you, I always give you an action item. Here's your action item. Go check out storymakerapp.us. It's just that simple. You've got to start doing story in your marketing. And if you're not sure what we mean on that, he does a good explanation. There's a good video on there to give you an explanation of what you're looking at. And then if you want, check him out and go ahead and do the demo and really think about how could this work? Because you're going to realize this is a lot more cost effective than you think. I'm not going to give it away, but it's very, very cost effective. It's something that every business owner that's looking, even if you're a solopreneur, you can afford this option that's available to you. So check it out. Thanks again for joining us. We're going to have another great guest next week. Again, this fourth quarter, we're getting prepared, but we're starting to put the building blocks in place so we can take 2025 and really make it a successful year, just like 2024. So come back next week for another great guest, and we'll see you then. Make it a great day.
That's all the time we have for this week. To continue your journey, head over to smallbusinessanswerman.biz to access the tools and resources mentioned in today's show. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with someone who would benefit from listening. That's smallbusinessanswerman.biz. Until next time, remember, when you find the right solutions, your business grows, and you get your time back.